right, so moving into Givens Estates. Here's our agenda. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to meet the team, at least most of them. At least we'll have a visual if they're not already here, but you're going to meet the team. We're going to review the wait list and the ready list and talk about the differences of the two. We will go through the details of the move-in process, and we'll be talking about the timeline and how that will work. Jessica is going to really dive deep and talk in with you about the renovation process when a place is offered to you. And then at the end, we will answer your questions. So please type it into the chat box on your screen. So, Abby, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Abby Talmadge. I'm the sales and marketing assistant for Givens Estates. So if you're calling us, you're probably going to get me first because I answer the generic line. And I also do the social media for Givens Estates. So if you haven't done so already, definitely give us a like or a follow on Instagram or Facebook. I also support events here that our department throws, like doing the webinar and the weekly amenity tour events. If you've come to campus and met us, you probably met us there. I'm also a member of multiple committees on campus that works with staff and residents together so that we can make a better cohesive environment for everybody. And I also do the photography and videography for Estates. So I do a lot, but it's fun. It's rewarding. I love being here. We've got great residents. And I love my team.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to do a poll question. Abby's going to put that up there. And we're kind of just curious as to whether or not you are on social media. Some people are, some people are not. Some people are, they want to be, but they don't quite really understand it and how to do all that. But we're curious, how many of you are on? And if you could just click all of them that do apply. I love polls, they're fun. Survey says
Almost got everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought. I thought Facebook would be the most.
Awesome. Now, are you able to reveal the results on there?
It doesn't look like it, but I'm seeing 20% on Instagram, 53% of you are on Facebook, 11% on LinkedIn, and then we've got 42% of people who aren't on social media at all. Um, reach out to me if you'd like to get on social media. I'd be happy to help.
Here we go. If I end it, then you can share the results so they can see it.
Cool.
So there you go. Give it a second. And then I'm going to stop sharing. We'll move on. Okay. All righty. So thank you for answering that. Jessica, tell them about you.
I'm Jessica West. I've been here at Givens for just about 7 years, a little over 5 in marketing. My job here, I think the technical title is move-in coordinator, but what I do is when a residence vacates, I do an assessment. We evaluate, all of the standards and everything that needs to be done. I meet with you once you have placed a deposit on a residence. And so we go over all of your selections, your flooring, your paint, things like that. I help organize your move in. And then if you end up moving to higher levels of care or anything like that, your move outs as well, ensuring elevator padding is up and spots are marked off for your mover. And just overall, I ensure that your home is ready once you move in here. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ben Hutchings as well. He and I work very closely together. He is the sales and marketing project coordinator. So once you and I have met and we've come up with all of your selections on what you want done in your residence, I submit all of that to Ben. Him and I go over, who's going to be painting, who's going to be doing your flooring, what's going to be done. And then he works closely with the contractors to ensure that everything gets complete.
And I'm Leslie Lang.
Leslie.
I'm Leslie Lang. I'm the marketing representative. I've been here over 14 years. I love my job. I love building relationships with people and telling them about Givens Estates. I also like to be helpful on not only just our campus, our community, but also all the choices that are out there. Excuse me. So I like to be educational and provide you with good information to help you make such a big decision, because this is a big decision financially, logistically, emotionally, all of that. So, and a lot of people are planners and they want to learn and they want to know. So we do presentations, I do tours such as this with webinars, and just basically educate you on the opportunities in a life plan community. So whenever somebody is moving into the community, I'm the one that works with them and gives them an offering of a residence. So I work the wait list and the ready list here. And our boss, all of us, we work under Josue Molina. He is the sales and marketing director of Givens Estates and also Givens Highland Farms. That's our other community out in Black Mountain. So he's got a big workload. He's got a lot going on. So he works really closely with the operations team and with brand marketing as well, and making sure that everything stays up to par and just continues to improve. So he also, for those that might be moving into the community, there could be a time when somebody needs to do an internal transfer from one place in independent living to another. And he would be the one that you would work with on that. You would work with me on your initial move in, but if you had to do an internal transfer, you would work with Hostway. So that's basically our marketing team that we have as of right now. So here's another poll question. If you don't mind answering, telling us whether or not you are on the wait list or the ready list. And we're going to go through and recap all of that, but let's just kind of see where we stand with our audience today. Got 6 more people to respond. And okay, so we're going to end the poll and we're going to share the results. So it's about a 60-40. So 60% of you are on the wait list and 40% are on the ready list. And there's 126 responses. So remember 60-40. We'll see if that changes in a minute. So going forward, let's talk about the wait list. It's a basic thing that pretty much everybody understands, but I want to kind of go through the details of that. And everybody is on the wait list by their date. And their date is whatever date we received your deposit. So nobody has a number. Everybody has a wait list date. So everything revolves around that date. You never lose your wait list date. So we at this time have over 1,060 depositors, and not everybody will move into Givens Estates. Some people are on multiple wait lists with different communities. Some people are just, maybe this is a backup plan. Some people are definitely planning to move here. So it's a lot. There's 1,060 people. So that's giving you also a good confidence level of the stability of the community for the future. But people will ask me all the time, well, how long does it take to get into your community? And that is a crystal ball question. It depends on so many things, what you want, what's coming available, how long have you been on the wait list, that sort of thing. But I do tell people that our average time for somebody to get into the community is an average of 2 to 5 years. I do find that larger square footage is a longer wait, and smaller square footage tends to be a shorter wait. Now, I do consider 1,500 and plus square footage to be in that larger category. So if you are looking at something that's 1,500 plus, you would think you'd be further down the timeline to get into the community. So kudos to all of you. All of you have put down your deposit. All of you have your date. That's already established. But wait list means you're waiting. You are not ready to move. Therefore, you are not notified of availability of any floor plans. So you're on the wait list and you're continuing on. So while you're on the wait list, you do have access to our campus to use our amenities. Now, some of you may have joined our wait list while we were dealing with the pandemic and COVID, and the campus was not open at that time. So if you were not aware of it, we are now back open. So if you haven't been able to take advantage of that, please know that you can start doing that, or we are now back and you can start coming back again. So you should be receiving our Gazette newsletters. If you are not getting our newsletters, please check your spam folder. A lot of times people just accidentally unsubscribe. They don't mean to. So if you're not getting that, you can reach out to Abby and she can check that for you. If you did accidentally unsubscribe, she can send you something for you to get back into the system. We really want you to get these newsletters because we want you to come on campus. We want you to walk the trails, swim in the pool, have meals, meet people. This is a big move for you. So take advantage of the community. Now, if you're in Arizona and Texas, you're probably not going to come here on Tuesdays for water aerobics. That's not really convenient for you, but you will have the newsletters. You will have all of the details, the menus, the activities, classes, even the pricing of the menus. So you can kind of get an idea how all that's going to work for you when you are living here. Also, every single month, we host what we call our Tour of Homes events, and I'm going to go through that more in a moment. But everybody should be receiving videos every month of more and more floor plans. So we're lucky enough to have some residents that will allow us to show their residents for marketing events, or also let us get videos. So if there's, floor plans that you want to see, definitely reach out. But ongoing, every month, you should be receiving more and more videos of floor plans. So wait list means you're waiting, you're not ready, so you're not being notified of openings. The ready list means that you are ready to move. You will be notified of openings, but imagine 1,060 people have a deposit with us, but the ready list is like a filter. These are the people that I need to call. So there's between 50 and 70-ish people on the ready list at all times, but everybody is placed on the ready list in order of their original wait list date. So if you joined the wait list back in 2019 versus someone joining today, and if you're both ready, the person that joined in 2019 would be higher on the list. There is no additional deposit needed to move to the ready list. It is simply a communication. However, I do require that we have some form of a meeting before we place you on the ready list. That could be either on the phone or over Zoom, or meeting with me here in person. The reason for that is we really want to dive deep into finding out exactly what it is that you're ready for. What are the things that are important to you? You will be asked to finalize your preferences down to 4 floor plans. So what are the things that are important to you? Any other situations that could be important to you? What challenges or concerns that you have? And if you know that you have to face west, or if you know you would only take something on the ground floor or the top floor, then please share that with me. I want to have a 98% chance of hitting bullseye and getting you the correct residence for you for your future. I want you to be excited when you do get that call. Here's the biggie with the ready list. Regardless of how long you've been on the wait list or how long the wait may be, if I am calling you and I am offering you a residence, you will be asked to pay the balance of your entry fee no later than 60 days after that residence has vacated. So I really am very protective of that ready list. I'm like a pit bull mama, checking over it and making sure that people that are on the ready list are indeed really ready. Because sometimes people say, well, I didn't think you'd call me for another year or two, and you're calling me and I've got 8 to 10 months of cleaning out my house. you're not really ready. You want to be in a position where that 60 days makes sense. So I say 2 to 5 years on average, but trust me, I've been wrong. I've been wrong in both directions, sooner and longer. So we just don't know. But if you're thinking it's an average of 2 to 5 years, but if I were to have your preference come available, are you in a position to move forward within those 60 days? If so, then we want to put you on the ready list, and I would then know to contact you. So ready list, think 60 days. How does that feel to you? How does that work? So also, while you're on the ready list, you have all the same benefits that people on the wait list with the Gazette newsletters, having access to coming on campus. However, when you do move over to the ready list, you are then invited every month to attend what we call our tour of homes. We focus on a particular neighborhood or building every month. And if I get my way and if it all works out perfectly, we will have done 2 full rounds of all of the different buildings and neighborhoods each year. So if you've got an average of 2 to 5 years, you will have so many opportunities to be able to see and walk through these floor plans. So when we have these tour of homes events, I can't obviously invite 1,060 people to walk into a resident's home. So we have to limit and cap the number of people that we can invite. So what I do is we go through the ready list and we look and see what is being shown that month, and I match your preferences. So we want to send the invitation to them first to give them first dibs. When it's full, it's full. If it's not full, then we will then open it up, remaining spots, to the wait list depositors. They do tend to fill up. But every time we have one events, here, let me hit mute again. Mute all. Okay, all right, go back. Can you hear me okay? Okay, all right. So when we do the tour of homes, we do have the opportunity to get more videos. So these are the videos that you are getting every single month that are coming out. So you've been receiving a lot of them and they're all buried in your email, but no worries. We are compiling a whole list of all the videos that we have. Now I'm compiling the ones that are furnished. So we're going to send out a compiled list of all these videos. I can entertain you all weekend long with these videos. So, but being on the ready list means you're ready to move. That 60 days makes sense. And then you're also invited to come to the tour of homes if it matches your preferences. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people will go 60 days. Oh my gosh, that sounds pretty fast, but what, I need to sell my house. You don't know how long it's going to take for your house to sell. You also don't know when I'm going to call. So we have what we call a promissory note. The promissory note really does tend to alleviate that stress. In this market right now, the last thing you want to do is list your house unless you are ready to go, because the market is it's fast. Homes are selling very, very quickly. The promissory note basically means that you will have paid half of your entry fee up front. Your home you will have 12 months to sell and close on your primary residence, and then you will pay off the balance of that entry fee with us no later than 12 months. That balance is interest free for you. It's an amazing way, but you will have to have the opportunity to pay the first half of the entry fee. So that's another factor to keep in mind with whether or not you should be on the ready list. Do you have access to that? How are you going to get that? Is that coming from your investments, or is it coming from a home equity line? If you're getting a home equity line, you need to make sure that you have that in place before you actively list your home. The bank will not give you an equity line if your house is actively on the market. A lot of people are borrowing it from their investments, borrow it rather than cash it because you don't want to pay taxes on all of that, but you can easily have access to it. Currently, right now, our market is so good in our area that it's about average of about 34 days for a home to sell, but it's taking an average of about 85 days to close. and Givens wants your money in 60 days. So as good as the market is, you can do this promissory note. You can close on it, move on in here, and then close your house, and it makes it a lot easier for your stress. We can only have so many promissory notes at one time. So please don't just assume that that's always there. It's very rare. I can't offer one, but it could always change. You never know. So please ask if you are getting on the ready list, if that is something that you are intending to do, let's talk about that. So following up after this webinar, we're going to send the recording. We're going to send the compiled list of the videos. I'm also going to include a copy of the promissory note so you can see one as well. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box. All righty, so let's have another poll question, because sometimes after people hear this and that 60 days, that, you know, that may change your mind as to whether or not really you are ready. So ready means, how does 60 days sound to you? We do have the promissory note to help you with the sale of your home. We're letting these tally. We're staying pretty consistent. Wow, 60-40. Okay, in the poll, share results, it's again 60-40. So I've started making it mandatory to meet with me to get on the ready list. So that's probably why it didn't change so much, because most of you probably have met with me. Okay, all righty. Excuse me. So we know the difference between the wait list and the ready list. We've confirmed where we stand. So for those of you that are on the ready list, or future will be at some point, let's do this. Let's talk about it. You're on the ready list and you have received the call. You've received an offering. I will tell you that a majority of the time, I know that a place is coming available before it's actually empty. Due to HIPAA, I am not going to be able to tell you the full situation about that residence, the people that are living there. It's, you know, their private situation, but I know it's coming available. Typically, vacancies come either due to an internal transfer. Somebody could be moving from one area to another in independent living. Somebody could be moving to a higher level of care. Somebody could be moving off campus, or there could be that there has been a passing. So there's a lot of lag time sometimes with these. So I'm calling you ahead of time to give you the heads up that this place is coming available. I will tell you as much as I can about it, what the floor plan is, where it's located, what, you know, floor it's on, that sort of thing. But you may or may not be able to see it immediately. But if you are interested in it, you'll be asked to put down a 10% deposit to reserve that residence. No worries. Excuse me. Your deposit is fully refundable up to 30 days after that residence has vacated. So you do get the opportunity to walk through the residence to confirm that you do indeed want this residence. If it's not the right fit, we'll obviously have to figure out, what did we do wrong? What do we need to amend in your preferences and your notes so that we can get it right the next time? Your deposit would be fully refunded and you would go back onto the wait or the ready list with your original date. You never, ever, ever lose your date. If you are putting down the 10% deposit, you'll be getting credit for whatever wait list deposit you initially had paid. So your wait list deposit is fully applied to the entry fee. When the residence is indeed vacated, Jessica is going to go in and she's going to do an inspection with her and her renovation team, and she's going to go more into all of that in just a moment. But I'm also going to go in and I'm going to take a video of that residence. So you're going to get the video and the list of the details of what Givens is going to do at their expense. And she's going to go into more of that. But some of you may live here locally. Some of you may be in another state. If you're in Florida and it's vacated, before you get a plane ticket, before you drive all the way over here, we find it's really helpful for you to have that video of it, to see the initial peek of the inside of the residence and also know what we're going to do. Because when you do come, a lot is happening fast, and we want you to have an idea of maybe some things that you want to ask about with the residents. And Jessica will go into that more as well. When we're doing the 10% deposit, we're going to be reviewing the contract. We're also going to be needing some documents from you. So if you are getting on the ready list, I suggest that you have these documents already in place. Sorry. So your original waitlist documents, if they're over 6 months since you initially gave them to us, which it probably will be, we will ask you to update those. Your finances, the health information, all of that. On your contract, you'll also be signing a medical release form. This is the time that we'll be requesting your medical information from your physician. So we also ask that you let them know it's coming. We have a tendency to have a quicker success with that, with your support. We'll also ask you to schedule a TB test. Sometimes people know that they're gonna test positive. We'll work through that. Don't let it be a concern. If that is something that you know about, just let me know. Chest x-rays, letters from doctors. We've got ways to work around that, but we do require that everybody have either the letter or a TB test prior to moving in. Some of you have pets, some of you do not. If you do have a pet, and if you have a pet that is going to be going outside, if you have a cat that never leaves the residence, this would not apply. But for those that a dog that would be out on a leash, relieving themselves outside, there is a $100 fee for our DNA sample that we will capture from your pet. The title of the company is called Poo Prints. And what that is if your pet pooed and nobody picked up the poo, they could then send in the poo for a test. And then they would know whose poo it was. So that's just a way to keep our campus clean. And obviously you can understand why we do that. So that's the only thing that we have with pets, but that's $100 fee for that. It's not a pet deposit or anything like that. So some people have firearms. And I'm telling you this up front because some people have pieces that are heirlooms, that are inherited, that are antiques, that are very important to them. So I just want you to know that you can bring firearms here to the community, but we do need to know who has firearms and what they are. You're going to need to provide us with serial numbers. Or if you're getting an offering and 60 days later, you know that you're closing and you don't want to rush, and you might want to think about, if you're not planning to bring them, to go ahead and start thinking about who you or how you want to handle those if you're not planning to bring them. Sometimes people with firearms, depending on their medical condition, whether when you're moving in or maybe down the road, we may require that we no longer have the firearms on our campus. So I can answer any further questions for you on that directly if you have any questions. Also, your healthcare directives, your healthcare power of attorney, and your living will. I recommend that you get those documents in place if you don't already. Now, some people may live in another state. Please provide what you currently do have. And then when you get here, you might be revising those and they can be updated and changed. Some people have a trust. Some people do not. If you do have a trust, ask yourself, what refund option am I planning on? And remember, even if it's a 0%, there is a prorated refund up to 4 years. So should there be a refund, would you want that refund to go into your trust? If you do, then please provide me with a copy of your trust so we can do an addendum to your contract so that we have everything in place and you or family, loved ones, attorneys, all that aren't having to worry about any refunds down the road. So these are just these aren't all the documents, but these are just some of the more important ones that I'd like to tell you about so you can be better prepared. Okay, so It's time for the closing. However, in between this conversation is everything that's going on with Jessica, but she's next. She's going to talk to you about that. So while I'm going to go ahead and skip forward and let's talk about the closing. So we will be scheduling your closing no later than 60 days after the residence has vacated. So as soon as it's vacated, you're going to be contacted. You're going to come and do a walkthrough and an orientation. Remember, you will have received a video and you will have seen the checklist of the items that we are going to do. So the closing is no later than 60 days. I do say no later because sometimes people want to close sooner. And if we can, we can, but it's not any further out than 60 days. You'll come, you'll do a walkthrough and an orientation with Jessica prior to meeting for me for the closing. Are you paying the balance of the entry fee or are you paying the amount due with your promissory note? You'll also pay your first month. You'll pay a full first month, regardless of what day of the month you close. Let's say you closed on the 13th of the month. That next statement, you would see a 12-day credit, but just always plan to pay a full month up front at your closing. Those come in 2 separate checks. So the balance of your entry fee and the first month. Any regular bank check is fine. They don't have to be certified. Sometimes closings are done as a mail away closing. Sometimes people want to pay with a wire transfer. So when it's your turn to move in, we'll talk about your situation and we'll see what works best for you. One important factor to keep in mind is that when you do close, you get keys, you get this info, all the stuff, access to the residence, but your monthly fee will be beginning, even if you're not moving for a couple more days, or maybe it's not even ready for move-in yet. So that's where it says here, schedule your move-in after Jessica has confirmed what date your residence will be ready for occupancy. Again, I don't want to steal her thunder. She'll go into more about that in a moment. One other side note that I tell people is I recommend that you do get a renter's insurance policy to cover your personal belongings in your residence. So you'd want to have that set up by the date of your closing before you put items into the residence. Okay. If you have questions, type them into the chat box. We'll get to those in a moment, but I'm going to pass it over to Jessica.
So, as Leslie mentioned, I'll have all that information about once you go ahead and contract and then a residence vacates and you meet with me. So I'm going to kind of go through the process of how that works. As Leslie mentioned, sometimes she knows ahead of time if a residence is going to vacate. Unfortunately, we don't necessarily know what the inside of the residence is going to look like until it is actually vacant. We give residents their privacy and everything, so we're not in there peeking around. But once it's vacant, we'll go in. We have a team of remarket members, myself and Ben, who you would seen on the slide, as well as environmental services, who are the cleaning team. We have maintenance team members that come in. So there's a handful of us that go through. We assess if something is up to standard or if it needs to be replaced. At that point, Givens would basically make the residents at their expense up to standard. The standards do vary per neighborhood. So your finishes in, say, a Creekside apartment, which is what you see on the slide, would be different than, say, an Asbury apartment. They are similar to an aspect, but they do vary a little bit per neighborhood. So once we have that list of what Givens will do, we provide that to Leslie and she sends it along with the video. So you'll know what's going to be done and you can view the video. And then if you still want to move forward, then we go ahead and we schedule a time to meet. We'll go through the residence, kind of get an idea of what you're looking at for flooring, for your paint, your countertop, if you want something other than the standard. We go through, see what you're interested in having done. If there's any customizations, anything that's above and beyond our standard, we'll review that. We actually have a weekly meeting with our entire remarket team. So if there's something a little out of the ordinary that we're just not sure if we can do, we take it to that team for approval. So that's on a case-by-case basis there, if something would get approved. For the most part, many items do, but in some cases, for an instance, I've had somebody request that we, do an opening in a wall, but we had all of the main plumbing running behind that wall, and it went to the apartment above and the apartment below. So in that instance, we weren't able to do that opening because it would have affected, I think it was five levels of apartments at that time. So things like that to consider. Once we know what you're wanting done, if there is anything that isn't standard, we work on getting our quotes for that. We have about 14 days. I know Leslie had mentioned it happens quick. So once a residence is vacated, we have 14 days to decide all of what you want to do, get those quotes, and finalize. And at that point, we get to work. Once it is finalized, we do ask for any upgrades to be paid up front, because we do pay our contractors up front as well. And then we get to work. One of the big things is you have your 60 days to pay that entry fee, or the portion of it, to Leslie for your close. And we're trying to make sure we get as much of your residence done as we can during that 60 days. If you're typically just doing standards, it generally works out right at that 60-day part. So that way, if you're paying on it, you're able to move in. Now, if there's any custom work, sometimes that does go beyond the 60 days. Cabinetry, for instance, is a big thing. Typically, if you're ordering custom cabinets, those can take up to 10, 12 weeks to come in. At that point, because it is custom, you would still be expected to close in that 60 days. However, know that the residence might not be suitable for living, depending on what that renovation might be. So that's why we want to kind of set what we call a ready date of when it will be ready for occupancy, before you do schedule your mover. So even though you'll be closing within 60 days, before you schedule your mover, you'll want to ensure that the residence is indeed completely ready. And I do have kind of a list of what some of the standards are. So if anybody has any questions on that, I'm happy to answer. And if you have any questions ahead of time of what those might be, if you're on the ready list, feel free to reach out, because it's good to have that conversation kind of early. So even though we don't know what the residence is going to look like, we might be able to kind of get an idea of what you're hoping to have in there. And I think that's it. If you wanted to move on to the next slide.
We have another poll question. My allergies are definitely kicking in. I'm sorry. So, poll question. We're not asking for each individual floor plans, but we're just kind of curious. Are you thinking more of single family or apartment style living? Where do you lean? Waiting on just a few more. 10 more to respond. Okay, all right, I'm going to end it. And sharing the results. More are apartments, but it's not a huge amount more, which is why it's so good to have so many choices within a community. I mean, we have a lot of offerings, so it can be a little stressful to pick it and narrow it down to 4. Okay, so, but we do ask you to do that because we really want you to dive in and think about what it is that's going to make you happy when you are living here on campus, which is another reason why it's very important for you, if you do live here locally, to come walk on the campus. I remember I'd offered a excuse me, I'd offered somebody a creekside apartment and they came here to look at it and then they realized it wasn't in the main building. Well, you want to make sure that you don't put yourself in that situation. You want to know where they are. You want to come to the tour of homes events if you're on the ready list. You want to meet people. You want to walk around, see where things are located. Talk to me about the things that are important to you. Is there a budget that you have in mind? Is there a particular feature that you know is important to you? Now, having these videos can help you kind of rule out some things, compare it with the price sheet, the campus map, and the videos. And Jessica is happy to answer some questions on some of the standards of what is standard with some of them and whatnot. And then if it's not standard, you can do some upgrades. I will say that our next webinar that I'm going to be doing is in December. Mark your calendars for December the 13th at 2:00. Invitations will go out and that'll be happening closer to the event in the middle of December. But what we're going to do is we're going to basically stop and talk about Oxford Commons. How many apartments? What are the square footage? What are the options? What are the details? All of those things. And we're going to go through each and every one. We'll have some visuals up on the screen as well. Because again, it's a lot. And not everybody lives right here. So we find that webinar will be helpful as well. So that will be coming. So these are the items that you're going to see in your inbox before the end of the weekend. We're going to do the recording of this webinar. I'm also going to include a blank contract. That's our residences and services agreement. So if you are putting a deposit down on a residence, this is the contract that you would be signing. I don't like surprises when I'm buying something. I want to be an informed buyer. I always like to read a contract before I come in to sign something. So I want to respect that for you as well. Give you a contract to look at and drill me with your questions. I want it to be an easy, smooth process when that time is coming for you. So take advantage of reading through that contract and let me know what questions you have. We can talk through it. It's a pretty simple contract, and I love how they do it in paragraph form with all these headings. It's not an intimidating contract. Also, I'm going to include a copy of our promissory note so you can see that in the event if you needed that. Also, we're going to put together a bullet point basically of this PowerPoint of all of your order of events and the checklist. So we'll have that coming out to you. Sometimes when people are ready or preparing to be ready, they're wanting to go ahead and start downsizing or talking to movers or getting rid of things, donating things. So we're going to send a list of our current movers, packers, downsizers, and you are not obligated to use these people, but it might be a useful tool for you. People come on and come off of our list all the time, and the list is based on the feedback that our residents give us. So we'll share that with you as well. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, we're going to compile a list of all of the furnished videos that I have. I don't have one of everything. I have most of everything. And I'm aiming towards by the end of the year, I'll have everything, but I have most of everything. So we're going to send that to you. And that may make you change your preferences. It may confirm your preferences, and it's okay for you to change your preferences. I'll tell you, people probably change their preferences an average of 4 to 5 times from the time that they originally get on the wait list and when they're moving. So your needs and wants and desires could change. So don't get too stressed on it. But when you do get on the ready list, we want to be pretty confident in what it is that you want us to notify you for. Okay. Any questions that you have for us? Here is our contact information. We thought we'd just kind of lighten it up a little bit without all of this serious information. Definitely not my glamour shot, but there you go. We have fun here. And Abby is just adorable. So our contact information is here. And Abby, would you be willing to look at the questions and see what we've got?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking through, we did answer some of these. What time of year do prices go up?
Okay, our fees are locked in annually. So the board will be approving our 2024 rate sometime in November. Residents here will be notified, at some point in December. Waitlist depositors, you should be looking for those in January, but our rates are locked in on a normal calendar year. Everybody on the wait list will get updated pricing after they are printed, published, and available.
Ooh, this is a good question. Is there a penalty if or when you reject an available unit?
There is no penalty. We'll need to find out why you rejected it. Did you reject it because you're not ready? Well, then we would put you back on the wait list, and I'd ask you to let me know when you are indeed ready. So I'm really trying to make sure that people don't get on the ready list unless they really are ready. You want to keep that number as small as you can, because if you have people on the ready list that aren't ready, that defeats the purpose of having the ready list. So you are not ever going to lose your date. You are not penalized, and we don't take it personally.
So this question is about internal transfers. If you live in a home, but then years later you decide you'd like an apartment, are you allowed to move, and how does that impact the fees?
Okay, great question. So residents, so that means you're already living here. You're requesting an internal transfer. We're assuming independent to independent. Residents get top priority of openings. Whatever entry fee that you initially paid, that full amount will follow you to the new residence. If you are moving to something more expensive, you will pay the difference. If you are downsizing and moving to something that is less expensive, you will not be receiving a credit of the difference because you did live in that residence. However, your new monthly fee will begin after your move. Internal transfers are approved on financial and health needs. Let's say somebody is in a cottage and maybe two people lived there. One person may have passed away. That person had a sizable pension, and now the income is a third of what it used to be. Well, that's financial. You could be approved for an internal transfer because of your income change or your assets or whatever, financial, okay? Health could be a couple of different reasons. It could be that a spouse has moved to another level of care, so you don't need as large of a place, or you need to downsize to counter the cost, or maybe you're not driving anymore, so you can't get from your cottage over to the main building anymore, so you might want to transfer. However, for those of you that don't know this, we now have Monday through Friday free shuttle transfer service on campus all day, every day. That is a newer thing, and you may not be aware of it. So it's free Monday through Friday, 9 to 8. So you can do that, which has really cut down the need of transfers on our campus. So financial and health, residents get top priority. Your full amount is applied. The new monthly fee begins.
Jessica, this might be a good question for you. What happens if the resident renovations are not done within the 60 days?
I was actually just typing that one up for them, so I'm glad you asked. So if there is custom work that is to be done, if it's custom, the resident will still be expected to close at the 60-day mark regardless. If we run into an issue where it's kind of on givens that the residence is not quite ready yet, we would assess that close date at that point. We're actually in the process of such an instance where we ran into a little bit of an issue. It added a couple weeks to the renovation time, and we did allow to push back that close date. But again, if it's due to any custom renovations, it would still be at the 60-day point.
Awesome. Ooh, Leslie, can you explain what portion of entry fee and monthly fees are tax deductible as a medical deduction?
Well, I will be able to, why don't we email that out with everything else? We'll add the tax credit letter. So you'll have the number. So in February of every year, we get that letter that will state what the amount is based on your refund, for the 0, 50, or 90, what that standard rate is, and then also what the monthly ongoing is. So we'll include the most current tax credit letter in our follow-up.
Jessica, is there an opportunity to select the brand of appliances for like the kitchen and the laundry room?
That's a great question. Anytime there are any type of fixtures, we're looking at faucets, electrical fixtures, appliances, anything like that. Once it's installed into a residence here at Givens, it becomes Givens property, and it's up to Givens facilities to maintain that. So due to that, if you had a specific request, it would need to be approved. But typically, we work on Whirlpool and GE products. Those are our standard. That does not mean that that's all we have here on campus. I've seen Bosch products come in, things like that. So it would have to be approved if it was not one of those two brands. And if it's something that isn't a standard, it would be something that the incoming resident would be required to pay for.
And Jessica, do we allow electric fireplaces? And what about grills?
So the fireplaces, that's again, once that's in there, we do just want to approve it ahead of time, make sure it's not emitting anything, which if it's an electrical fireplace, it shouldn't. A lot of the cottages have them, but that's no problem. And electric grills are about the only thing that is approved for grills. There are no charcoal grills at all on campus. I think some of the cottages, there's some folks with some gas grills that have to remain so far away from the residents, but electric grills are permitted.
Leslie, if a unit has unattractive aspects that the prior owner put in, who's responsible for paying to correct the unattractive aspect?
So unattractive is a matter of opinion. So I would revert it to Jessica in regards to her inspection with her and her team to say what they are planning to do. So let's say that you don't like the wall color, but they're not planning to paint it. She would tell you what standard, and then you would be able to choose what you want. She'll give you a quote for it, and you can rectify it to make it attractive for you.
And speaking of such, that's one of those customization things. If somebody is, say, they're wanting to install a purple countertop, obviously something like that isn't a neutral that might not everybody love. So in that instance, that would be something that would have to be approved. And in that instance, they might ask that incoming residents that having that installed actually pay to have it brought back to standard as part of their quote, just for that reason.
Great questions.
I've got some questions that are a little bit more about our community, but they don't have to do with, oh, there's a good one. Can I bring my treadmill?
Well, yeah.
I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
If you're on in an apartment and you have somebody below you, I hope you don't want to run at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You might have a hard time making friends. I'm not aware of anything saying you cannot bring that.
Yeah. What are the restrictions on pets?
Okay. Well, you can have, there's a certain weight limit up to 30 pounds in the main buildings. They can go up to about 50 pounds outside of the apartment buildings, such as single family and duplexes. And then if you do have a pet that will be outside relieving themselves, you'll be asked to pay for the poop prints, the DNA sample. You can have up to 2.
Perfect. Jessica, is it possible to have a certain outlet put in its own circuit? Yeah, Mr. Holmes likes to have his stereo system on its own circuit.
We're actually putting in some wiring for a surround sound speaker system currently. That is one of those customizations, might have to be approved, and then the resident would be expected to pay for that.
Oh, I have a question. What about electric vehicle charging stations? Can we install those in units?
Great
Yeah,
question.
so yeah, that is a great question. They're becoming more and more popular. I would love to say that every residence could have one, but unfortunately, just due to the electrical infrastructure in general here at Gibbons, we are somewhat limited. That's not to say you wouldn't be able to have one where, again, we're currently installing one right now in a cottage. However, we have run into instances where a home's electrical panel couldn't withstand the addition that it was needed. It was one of the older homes, but that can vary because some of the cottages, especially those with lower level, their panel might be close to full. So that would be assessed on also a case by case basis. Currently we have electrical chargers up behind Asbury, between Asbury and Friendship Park, that is available for use for all residents. There's discussion about adding more. I just don't know when that's going to happen.
Perfect. Um, if an apartment had carpeting and the future resident might want hardwood, would they pay for that?
They would, if it was deemed that the carpet was going to be removed. So as a standard, they would be putting carpet back in. That is actually the only instance where we can give credit. So if you're wanting to do engineered hardwood, you would receive credit if we're already replacing that carpet toward that that upgrade, is what it would be.
What else could we ask?
That pretty much all of them.
Do we have
Here's
a
one.
list of
How many
standards? Oh, go ahead.
vacancies per year do we average?
I'm sorry, what?
How many vacancies per year do we average?
So we've just been discussing budgets and stuff for next year. And I'd say we have between 40 and 50 new move-ins a year, average. Some years are more than others, some are less.
Well, we are at 2:59.
We did it. Then an hour.
Yeah.
So I hope this has been very helpful for you. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions for me or Jessica or Abby, certainly let us know. If you are interested in social media, you just don't quite know how to do it, Abby is a gem. She can help you. I was helping somebody yesterday that you just click like on it. And then I think having the Gazette newsletters are wonderful. It's good to have the menus, you know what the agenda, itinerary, all the things that are going on, but on your own schedule, as at your own leisure, you can pull up social media, and it's not a newsletter. It's not some flat piece of paper. It's real live videos, activities, stories, things that are going on here in the campus. So if you really want a good snapshot of what the lifestyle is like here, you've got these social media platforms that they work really hard on for you to have. So consider that.
Awesome.
You
Well,
get
thank you,
the
everybody.
emails from us. We'll send those no later than Friday. So you'll get those, and I'm happy to schedule phone, Zoom, or in-person meetings. Also, if it's been a while, don't forget that you have access to the campus. Come on, use the campus. If it's been a while since you've been here, this campus has changed tremendously. We have added 3 dining venues. We have a new wellness center. All of our common areas have all been updated. If you haven't been in a couple of years, please come. And every Thursday from 10 to 12:30, we do a full presentation. If you want to get an update and a reminder of how the finances and inclusions and how all that works, every Thursday from 10 to 12:30, we do a full presentation and a tour. You'll meet other residents. It's a very fun, casual time. It takes place from 10 to 12:30 every Thursday. They do fill up, so please register to attend, but come and enjoy it. And then you can also come at your own leisure if you're already on the wait or the ready list. I hope you have a wonderful day. All the holidays and things are coming, so have a wonderful fall, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.